So hello everyone, welcome to CS170 Computer Applications for Business Recitation 3. And I hope everyone was able to complete assignment 2 last week. Let's just quickly go through what we did in the recitation 2. We learned about the basics of HTML and a different kind of tags. Also in the part 2, which I uploaded in case anyone of you did not get the link. In our Canvas homepage. If you just go and click on files, and then if you just click on recitation information folder, in that you will find my name. Just click on that folder. Afterwards, I have just updated this whole directory or the structure. I've just made it very simple to just for you guys to access the materials. So if you will just go in my folder, you will find the TRS information sheet for the students, in which everything is mentioned about my email ID, my lab support hours, my office hours, and all the stuff, right? I hope you guys have read this till now. And in this, you will find different kind of folders. Like for example, here's the folder of our last recitation, which is recitation 2. In that, I've just dumped all of the material of our class slides or the PPTs. This is for the part 2, which we learn about HTML lists and tables. This one's the supporting HTML files, which I have included for you guys to just practice and download it in your system. And if we talk about this current recitation, if I just go back to my folder, for this recitation, all the files I'm going to dump in this folder, recitation 3. So let's just get started with today's recitation. And before getting into the intermediate part of HTML, let's just quickly go through about the number conversions thing, which we learned in the last recitation also, because you guys would be having a quiz this week. Let me just go into this quiz section, and then here you would be able to find that week 3 number conversions quiz is due on 22nd September. It will start on September 20th, right? So make sure you guys are prepared for that, and I hope I'll just cover everything which is required for you guys to give the quiz. And just one more short update regarding the files. Like in this recitation 2 folder, just make sure you download this thing again, because I've just made some changes in basic one HTML file. So make sure you just download this whole folder and just practice it in your system, and let me know if you guys face any issues or doubts. So let me just grab the okay, cool. Okay, cool. So in the last class about the basic number conversions, we learned that the computer system always understands the language of zeros and ones, right? Or the bits language. We as human beings can interact with the computer systems only in terms of exchanging information or any kind of instructions or commands in the form of zeros and one. And for that, if we just look into the roots or the most fundamental concepts of computer science, we learned about the basic number conversions. There are different kind of number systems called hexadecimal, decimal, binary, right? For hexadecimal system, it starts from 0 to 9 and then goes from A to F. Again, some students asked me during my in-person recitation that what comes after F, right? So after F, it starts again from 10, 11, 12. It goes till 19, and after 19, it starts from 1F, 2F, 3F, and so on and so forth. And if we talk about the decimal system, it's just our plain simple numbers, integers from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 till 15. Here we have just taken example of this first 16 numbers so that we can just get an idea about how each number system visually looks, right? If we talk about the binary number system, as the name suggests, binary, it has just two digits, like zeros and one. And we also went on practicing few examples on this site. If you just click on this site, let me just okay, yeah. I hope you guys just played or just practiced this thing on this site. So we'll just come to this in a while. So if we just talk about the binary systems, so each and every number system can be represented in the binary form, and we looked on the basic conversions of hexadecimal to binary, or binary to hexadecimal, or from decimal to binary, right? So let's just practice few of the conversions today in the first few minutes, and then we'll just jump onto our HTML topic that's scheduled for today. So for example, let's just revise, like if there are different kind of decimal numbers given here, 7 0 5 2 3. So let's say I want to convert the number 7 in the form of binary. So if you guys remember, then there's always you just have to put a different kind of slots or the blanks, and beneath that, suppose here it's the representation is given 4 2 1, and if the number is larger, then there would be one more blank, and we would write 8 below it, because it's a binary number system. So the base would be 2, and we'll just put 2 raised to 0, 2 raised to 2, 2 raised to 3, and so on and so forth, right? So that's just a thing which we discussed last time also. Suppose I want to form number 7. So I'll just suppose, let's say I write 1 over here in the blank of 4, 1, and then how many more numbers I need to form the number 7? 3, right? So if I put one more 1 over here in the blank of 2, and then how many more numbers are remaining to form the number 7? 1, right? So 4 plus 2 plus 1 sums up to 7. So the answer of the conversion of the decimal number 7 in the form of binary should be 111, right? I just want you guys to just pause this video and open this site and just play this game and just try out all the possible conversions of all the numbers which are given here, right? So let me just click 111, and boom, that's the output for number 7, and it has been striked out, like as you guys can see. So let's say I just want to practice number 5, for example. So how can we form number 5 if we just talk about in terms of these blanks which are different, which has the notation of 4 2 1, right? You guys can just remember first four blanks, 8 4 2 1. If the number goes on increasing, then we can just add more blanks based on our simple formula of 2 raised to n, right? And one more thing, please remember or note this thing or write this thing wherever you want. The number of combinations using n binary bits is always 2 raised to n. You guys getting it? I repeat, the number of combinations using n binary bits is always 2 raised to n. For example, let's say given are n bits. So if I ask you guys that how many distinct combinations of the bits exist, or like how many different kind of combinations we can form for that n bits, right? Because since bits can be represented in two forms, 0 or 1, right? So the formula or the solution or the answer for this goes 2 raised to n. So let's say if I ask you that for 4 bits, how many different kind of combinations, distinct combinations can be made, or does it distinct combinations exist, right? So answer to that would be 2 raised to 4, that is 16. If I ask for 5, then it should be 2 raised to 5, 32, right? So just note this thing. And regarding number 5, how we can form the number 5 is like, suppose I put 1 over here in the blank of 4. So 1 plus, can I put 1 over here in the blank of 2? Yes or no? Let's say suppose I put 1 over here, then 4 plus 2 sums up to 6. So which exceeds our requirement, because we want number 5. We want the conversion of number 5, right? So I will not put 1 over here. I'll just put simply 0 over here. So let's just visualize in this way. So 1 0. Suppose, and how many more numbers are required to form the number 5? Just 1, right? So I can put 1 over here. It will just simply sum 1 to the 4. So 1 plus 4 sums up to 5. So the binary representation of the decimal number 5 should be 101, right? I hope like you guys are trying with me, so that you guys can just, so if I just click over here, 101, so boom, number 5 has been striked out. And so like you can just practice, it's nothing rocket science. If you guys have still any kind of queries and concerns, you guys can just connect during my office hours, which is on Thursdays from 2 to 3. Okay, let me just close this one. And let's say suppose let's just take an example of converting any binary number to hexadecimal number, right? So it goes like, if we take an example of this string, which you can see over here, 0101101, right? So if I just take this binary number and I want to convert it into hexadecimal form, which includes alphabets and numbers, alphanumeric, right? So how you can do is, like, let's just take the string, you divide the 8 bits into two groups of 4 bits each. So let's say I take this string and I divide it in two groups of 4 bits, 0101, and the other group would be 1010. Now I can simply convert this thing directly first into the decimal form. That, like, if you just go on step by step, you first things, if you guys have this table in front of you, then you can just simply look upon for this values in the table binary column, and then you can just look at the equivalent value of that particular binary representation in the form of hexadecimal number, right? So let's say if I take 0101, and I'll just find, where can I find 0101? Or for you guys to just practice, don't look into the binary table, just convert the value 0101 into decimal first, right? So suppose if I'm not looking into the binary table, if I just want to click convert directly from this representation, the binary one, to the decimal. So how does it, like, how do we convert, right? Just simply just write this 0101, and below that, with your pencil or pen, whatever you are using, just simply write 8421, the numbers, right? And where there is a bit 1, you just simply consider that bit and you'll just add the summation of the numbers. For example, under this first 0, there would be 8421, right? But first and third position of these 4 bits are of no use because it has the bit 0. We'll just consider the bits which has the representation of 1, right? So 848, no. 4, yes. 2, no. 1, yes. So 4 plus 1 sums up to 5. So we see that the decimal form of this binary representation of the string called 0101 should be 5. And if you just want to cross check using this table, you can see that 0101 is the equivalent form of number 5, right? So in this way, if without using or seeing the table, you guys can just directly convert any string into the decimal form, and so that it would help you to just practice a different kind of sums, right? So now, what after we get the decimal form of the binary representation, suppose I get 5, then there's nothing more to do, because the decimal form of number 5 in hexadecimal form is also 5, right? Just because, like, the characters or the strings start after 9, like the ABCD thing starts off after digit 9. But still, if you just want to look and convert, you can just simply compare the table of hexadecimal decimal, and you can just get the equivalent of number 5, right? So in this way, you can just convert any number which can be given to you in any form to hexadecimal or decimal or a binary. So I hope this is clear. Like, I don't want to focus more in this topic because I have covered in last time also. And if you guys still have any doubt, you can just email me, or you can just ask on our platform Piazza. I hope like you guys are using that platform too. So this is just the practice. If you want, I'll just share this PDF with you guys, so you can look around and practice the problems which are given here. So okay, cool. So let's just get started directly with our HTML topic for today. So also, I'll be using VS Code like last time. If you guys want to use any other text editor, then you are good to go. And if you simply just want to use text edit, if you're using Mac, or just Notepad++, if you're on your Windows machine, then that's fine too. For those who are using VS Code, let's suppose you have this kind of folder which you would be working, right? So that's shortcut of opening VS Code always. One shortcut is just like directly open the VS Code application, and like you just open the folder directly which you guys want to work. Other shortcut is I click on this folder, right click, and if I click on new terminal at folder, and if I simply write, let me just zoom this for you guys. If I simply write code space dot, right? Now just see the magic of this command. If I just click on written, it will simply open the VS Code application for me. Let me just grab this thing over here. It will simply open the VS Code application directly in that folder, directly in this particular folder. Let me just zoom this editor application. Let's say I am in that particular folder, recitation3, which you can just see right over here. So this is a good shortcut for you guys. If you want to enable this thing, just click on settings over here in the left side, left bottom, click on command palette and just write shell, install this thing called shell code command, right, from path. And then you guys would be able to access this facility of accessing any kind of folder directly from your terminal, right? So I think it's good and handy. It saves time every time. So let's say suppose, okay, first things first, let me come to this shell.html file. So I'll be just sharing this folder and all of the files which we will be using for this recitation with you guys so that you can just practice in your system. So there's this file called shell.html. So this is our basic template of HTML. So you did not have to just type in all of this stuff every time which you work on any kind of HTML assignment, right? So you can just use this basic template called file for every time. And also if you are on VS Code, let me just suppose comment this stuff. If you are on VS Code, let me just create one more file. Let's say demo.html. And if I want to start working on any kind of web page from scratch, I need not have to write everything from scratch. Let's say exclamatory, doc type, and all those things, right? Which we learned, like the root element and different kind of tags, head tags, body tag, right? I just have to simply press exclamatory mark and press enter, boom. This is my basic boilerplate of HTML ready with the help of Emmet abbreviation or Emmet extension, which helps us to just save time and need not write all these things again and again every time, right? So this is a perk or advantage of using an editor like in comparison of Notepad++ or anything else, right? So I'll just delete this file. This was just for the demo purpose. Okay, so if I just come to this shell.html, and again, one more thing, I'm using this extension called Go Live. If you just go on this tab, which says extensions, and click on live server over here, you would be seeing this extension. Just install it from over here. I've already installed it. So just see the beauty of this extension. If I click on Go Live, boom. So it has already opened my web page in the browser. I did not have to like manually go and click on the HTML file, right? So, and again, suppose if I write the title as recitation 3, for example, right? Boom. You can see the changes which it has been reflected, right? So it's very dynamic, it's very live and very handy for you guys just to, if you guys are making any kind of changes. So it's good. It's a good practice to follow such norms and using such extensions, right? So this was just the basic part of our HTML tables, which we learned in the part 2 of our recitation 2. If you guys have not still checked out that video, make sure you just go and check out that video wherein I've just covered everything related to HTML lists and tables, right? So for now, let me just grab this file. For today's recitation, we are going to focus on different kind of more tags called as the anchor tag, a tag, and we are going to look on how we can just traverse from one web page to another web page with the help of different kind of links, which we will just provide as an attribute inside the source or href tag, right? Property in terms of a tag. We'll just look around and we'll play with images also, how we can add images to our web page, how we can, let's say suppose if I want to add the link or the YouTube video directly into my web page, how we can do that too, right? So we'll just look all those things in today's recitation. And one more thing, like for today's recitation, I'm not going to upload or post any kind of presentation, because any kind of presentation is not really needed for this one, because we'll just do everything practically hands-on so that you guys can understand more in a more better manner, because presentation would not help much for you guys. I'll just send all this HTML files which I'm using for this recitation, so that you guys can just have a look around and just download it in your system and work in the same manner, right? Okay, first things first, let me just go and click on live server, go live. Okay, so this is the output for this particular HTML code of the file app03.html. So let me just explain about our directory, right? So every time you work on any kind of project, so there's a particular way in which you just put your files or anything, the images in the directory, so that it doesn't just messes up with everything and other files, right? Because in real time professional world, you are not having you are not going to have like few files, right? There will be many files, like more than 50 or 70 depending on the use case. But other than the HTML files, there would be tons of different kind of things, the images and different kind of requirements or etc., right? So it's always a good practice to just maintain the order of our folder. And of course, this is the key. This is very essential of adding the comments. I hope you guys will add comments wherever it's necessary. So if I just go to this folder, recitation3, you guys can see that there are different kind of files over here. Two HTML files, different kind of images over here, right? So let's say suppose if I click a folder over here and call images, right? And if I simply drag this cat.jpg and it's saying, are you sure you want to move cat.jpg into images? I want to move, yes. Let's say suppose if I move this dog1.jpg and dog2.jpg. Perfect. If I just, okay, so what I did just now is I just created a separate folder inside our recitation3 folder, or called images folder, and I just added all 3 images inside that folder. So this is always a good practice to keep all of your stuff separately in an organized manner, right? So now if I just save this file and I click over here, you can see that the images of cat and bunnies or cat image has been gone, like it's not visible over here, right? So what happened, right? We'll just look into this while learning the links. So for example, this is just the title tag. This is just the inside the head tag, right? Inside the body, it's written recitation 3 example. Let's say suppose I write recitation 3 example. Recitation 3 example, web image. Inside that there's another h2 tag called as web image. So let's talk about the img tag, which is the image tag, right? So as the name suggests, the img or the image tag helps us to insert any kind of image inside our web application in the browser. So if we talk about how we can just insert an image, first thing, there are 2 ways. Suppose that image is externally present anywhere in the internet, or it's downloaded in our local system. For example, over here, this image has been inserted via an external site. Let me just copy paste. If I just paste this link over here, you guys can see this image has been present in the internet, right? So what we have done is we have just grabbed the direct link of that image and placed it inside this src source property or the attribute of image tag, and we have another property called alt, right? Alternate alt property. We will see like what is the use of alt property and what happens if I just don't include the alt property or the attribute inside the image tag. There's another property or attribute called the width and the height, which is simply like we are mentioning how wide or how what should be the height or height of our image, right? So if I just the BR tag is the break tag, right? I hope like you guys have become familiar with the basic tags called H1 tag, H2 tag, the BR tag, right? So let's say suppose in another after this local image, it says web image and the other heading says the local image. So inside this, suppose if I want to insert this image, let's say in our images folder, if I click on cat image, I want to insert this image of this beautiful cat inside our app3.html file. So how can I do that? There are two methods. If you are using VS Code, let's say suppose directly click go on this cat.jpg and click right click. There's an option called copy relative path. Suppose if I copy this, right? And if I just paste this link directly in our source attribute in the image tag, and if I save the file, boom, you guys can see that the cat image has been popped up in our web browser again. What I did is I just simply gave the reference or the path of this particular image, which is inside our images folder, inside our main folder called the recitation3, to this source property so that it can just access that image directly from our local folder or the directory and use it to just simply insert into our web page, right? So for example, let's say I wrote something called as I just made some error in writing the path. Let's say if I gave the path as images slash cat2, right? And I save the file. So you guys can see that there is no image called as cat2 in our images folder, right? So now what should be the output? Like, shall it display? Or obviously it will not display any kind of image, but what will it display? You guys can see that there's no image. The web browser is not able to fetch any kind of image because our source is wrong. It's not proper because there's no image called as cat2. But you guys can see that there's something written over here, small tiny text called as cat. What is that? For example, if I write over right here my name, for example, let's say anything, boom. So if it's not able to fetch the source of the particular image which it's trying to insert in the web page, it will always it is always a good practice or habit to just mention the el tag, and we just simply write the description about what the image is, right? Exact in, like, for example, this is a cat image, right? We'll just simply write cat so that if for any reason it is not able to display it, right? So it will just have this but a small text like, so that the viewers would be able to get to know that okay, this image should be of like a cat, right? So this is just the use of alt tag. And if we talk about, okay, for example, let me just I just want to show this facility. For example, if I just click on this three dots over here, and if I click on more tools, and if I go to developer tools over here, more tools, developer tools, okay, so you guys can see that, okay, let me just correct this thing as cat1 cat.jpg, the image is big. So you guys can see there are different kind of options over here as elements, console, sources, network, right? So this is just called the developer tool stack, in which it is very helpful for the developers who are building the website to just analyze about what's going in our website. We can make changes over here. We can just if I just suppose if I just go on here and just hover in the elements called h1 tag. So suppose if I'm just hovering, I'm not clicking over here, so it would directly show me that okay, I'm talking about this h1 tag, right? If I just click on this h2 tag, it will show over here that okay, your the particular element which you have selected or hovered on, it's this one. So it's always a good habit to just know things about where different kind of elements are situated, or and things get more complicated if we just introduce css in our html website templates, because at times we just require to understand what kind of elements are taking how many space, right? There are different kind of things called as margins, pairings. We'll just learn about all those things further in our course duration, but it's always helpful for the developer or the user to just know all the elements, how they are situated. If I go on this console tag, here we would be getting all the different kind of errors. For example, over here, there's an error called a get http/ this subfolder bunnies.jpg not found. Why? So if you guys just can see over here inside subfolder file, there's a subfolder /bunnies, but if you guys just notice in our main folder recitation3, there's no folder called subfolder. So how will it be how can it just access this bunnies.jpg? This does not exist. So it will simply not fetch the image, and it will just show the text which we have written in place of the alt property or attribute. And then it will also show this error in our console section where it says that 404 error not found, right? So in this way, we can just see any kind of issues or errors present in our web page. So it's very handy. Make sure you guys just check this thing out, and we'll just obviously use this thing more while learning JavaScript, and we'll just get to know about its applications in a more detailed manner. For now, okay, we covered how we can just insert this image and from the web image, right? From the internet, anywhere from the internet. How we can just add any local image which is present in our local folder directly. And for example, over here, let's just try to understand how we can just connect two different kind of HTML files, right? Suppose, let's say if I click over here, more about cats and dogs, boom, what just happened, right? We just went to another HTML file called as app3_2.html. So don't get confused. There are two HTML files. One is app3.html. The other one is app3_2.html. For your simplicity, let me just rename this file as app3_1.html. For you guys just to not confuse between the file, this is the first one and this is the second one. As you can see from the output of the second file, these three images are not displayed. Why? Let's just do the dissection for that. Okay, here, as in the initial period, we just transfer all these three images inside our images folder. What I need to do is I just have to write the image folder, and it will just simply suggest me that, oh, inside the images folder, what image you want to select over here, right? So this is the beauty of VS Code again. Images, this should be the doc2, right? And now we are able to just see those three images over here. So all these things we covered in our tables recording. This is just the border property. If I just write this as 2, you would see that the thick line which is surrounding the table, the weight of it has been reduced. If I write this as 5, boom, let's say, so the darkness or the outer border has been increased, right? So that's just about the border property of the tables. This is the table row. Inside table row, there's a table heading, right? There are two different kind of table headings called as cats and dogs. Over here, you guys can see that one is cats and the other one is dogs, right? So in the cats heading, right, what we have done is we have included a tag, right? We have placed this text. Let me just zoom this thing so that you guys will be able to see it properly. So what we have done is that inside our table heading tag, we have written this cats heading inside our a tag. Now, what is a tag? So a tag is the anchor property, anchor tag, with which we can just insert an attribute called as href, and inside that we can just give the link. for example, let me just show you the demo. If I click on kids, right, what will happen? You guys can see that it has redirected me to another website called of wellness, right? So what just happened? We have just provided the link of this website in our href attribute or property directly, so that whenever someone clicks on the cats option over here, let me just go back. Whenever someone clicks over here, you guys can see there's nothing here if I just hover my cursor on the dog's text. But as soon as I hover on the cat's text, there's the cursor is changed, right? It's something clickable. If I click here, it will redirect me to the site which we have just written here in place of href tag, right? So in this way, if you guys can just want to uh, redirect to any other website, you can just write your text inside the a tag by using this property called href. And one more thing over here, I hope you guys are using the HTML W3 Schools HTML references, because this one's a like great resource for everyone out there who's learning HTML. For example, over here there are different kind of topics which you guys have already learned and are learning. For example, HTML attributes, headings, paragraphs, styles, commands, links, images, tables, lists, right? For example, if I click over here, HTML file paths, so we learned that there are different kind of file paths, and the way we structure our folder should be in a proper organized manner, right? And we learned how we can just include the web images, the images which are present in our local directory or local system. There are different kind of paths called as relative paths or absolute path. So what does the word relative file path mean? Simply, so as you guys can see, a relative file path points to a file relative to the current page. So for in this example, what they have done is that they have just included the path in the src property as slash images slash picture. This is the exactly same thing which we did in our this example of app03_1 HTML, wherein we included the images called cat over here from our images folder. So this is called as relative path system, right? This is kind of a relative path system wherein our images is relative to the page we are working currently. So now what is absolute path, right? Reference. So there are two types. One is relative and one is absolute. So absolute is the one wherein we just insert the image directly from the website, right? And not from our local system which we are working on. So that's the example of this one, the web image, which we are inserting here. So I think you guys just got the difference between relative path and the absolute path. And for now, let me just quickly grab the attendance that you can just quickly mark for this recitation. So here's the secret code for recitation 3. It's 917. I repeat, it's 917. So yeah. So yeah. So like make sure you just go through the different kind of topics which are present in your W3 schools. And also one more thing which I just want to highlight is the W3 3C validator. For example, if I just open this link over here. So this is a markup validation service, which is free to use. If you just click over here, validate by direct input over here. And if you just enter your HTML code, for example, if we just write the HTML code of this one, of our shell.html, and I just want to verify that or validate that whether this code is right, working or not, are there any errors. If I just paste it over here directly, and if I click on this check button, it says that, okay. Consider a language attribute. Okay, for example, let me just write over here is in the HTML tag, right? Language as English. And now let me click on check. Okay, just ignore all these things because some of the tags or attributes have been obsolete, or they are not like they have removed the usage of those tags, right? But basically, if you just want to for example, let me just remove this table tag over here from here, right? Let me just write hello world, and inside this, my name is Sarjak. Perfect. Let me just click on check. Training session white elements have not effect. Click on check. So here it shows that document checking completed, no errors or warnings to show. So in this way, you can just always UTF-8. In this way, you can just always use this validator kind of service for you guys just to, if you're working on Notepad++, especially because there you won't be having any idea where you are getting the errors or where there's a syntactical mistake, right? So you can just use this service called validator W3C, in which you can just directly paste your code and click on check. For example, if I just click on outline and click on image report over here, it would also show me the image report or the output, but here I have not included any kind of images over here, right? So you can use this options also. So make sure you just use this website in order to just validate your code. So let's just get back to our demo website. So for example, over here, I was talking about the references, right? The relative path and absolute path. After that, what next? For example, over here, you guys can see that how this whole table has been formed, right? Do you guys see any kind of difference over here? Because like, if I just simply give you this table and if I tell you guys to just create this table, how would you just approach to this thing? Because here, like, can anyone tell me how many different kind of rows and columns are there, right? Because let's just suppose over here, cats and dogs. This is just the first row, and there are two columns, right? One column is for cats, other one is the dogs. And the second row has the images, right? The third row has this thing called as cat toys, dog toys. Third row, again, has a list. So you guys can see that we have added a list inside our table. Yes, that is possible, of course. We can insert our list elements inside the table. Let's just understand the code, each and every line of our code, so that you guys will have a better understanding. Because I'm sure, like, seeing this visual for the first time, you guys would be wondering, like, how is this this partition is like little different, how we just made this thing, right? So there's something called as Cold-span and row-span property of tables. We'll just cover it in this recitation. So we saw that inside our table, this is the main body of our table. The first row has two elements, two columns called cats and dogs. We gave this link to cats so that we can, if someone clicks on this, it will just get redirect to another site. After that, coming to the next row, in our next row, we are adding the table data, right? For example, over here, you can see that there are three different kind of images. So the images which we have used are already present in our current working directory or folder or the structure, and it's relative, right? So what we have done is that we have just directly given the link or the path of that particular image inside our source property attribute of image tag. This is the ALT property, and this is just the height and width. I can just increase or play with this thing as per the requirement. So this is the TD tag, the table data tag, right? And after that, in our third row, we have given just another description called as cat toy over here, which you guys can see. But after that, you guys can see that in our next in our second column of the third row, which is second column of the 1, 2, 3, third row of which says dog toys, there's something called as Cold-span 2, right? So I think this thing you guys have encountered for the first time. So let me just try to explain you with the help of example. You guys can see that over here, this whole thing is one column, right? The cats column. And so if I just want to write anything over here, so this thing is one full column, but here there are two kind of different columns. But this dog thing, for example, let me just like grab the example of this thing. Okay, W3 schools and perfect. Perfect. So from here, you guys would be able to easily understand. Let's say this is a normal table, right? In that there are different kind of rows and columns over here, but you guys can see the name text has taken um, first two columns. It has been merged, right? The different kind of cells in every table can be merged according to our requirement. For example, over here, the word April has taken first three rows and just the first three rows and just the first column, and it has directly merged it, right? All the rows, all the three cells. So we can do that with the help of a tag called as col span, which just simply means that to make a cell span over multiple columns, we can use the col span attribute. So col span, as the name suggests, we can use that to span or our cell over multiple columns. And similarly, the row span attribute we can use to span over multiple rows. We'll just look at the example of both of this. Suppose this is the beauty like of HTML or W3 resource, because we can just validate our code over here directly itself. If I click on try it yourself, it will just get redirect me to this page. And in this thing, suppose we have written our ignore this thing because this is part of your CSS. So suppose, let's say if I comment this thing out, or if I just remove this thing, if I click on run, okay, that's just the styling. If I perfect, this is just the basic simpler version which we have used till now. So if I give this col span equal to 2 attribute to this table heading called name, what it has done that is okay, wait. Let's just distort the image. For now, let's just ignore this. We'll just try to understand the col span tag over here. What we have done is just added the basic styling of CSS on this particular tags, the table, th, and td. So what it has done that it has covered the first two columns, right? The col span is used to span over multiple columns. So if I write col span equal to three, it will take the first two columns of the name tag and it will merge it. Suppose if I write col span equal to 3 and click on run, it will take the first three columns, right? This is the first one, this is the second, this is third one. So in this way, we can just use the col span tag to uh, like to just merge the cells of the columns depending on our use or how we want it. So in our example, if we just take the example which we are working on, let me just remove this thing over here. Okay, over here, what we have done is we have used the col span tag for the dog toys because it has to take this both column cells, right, and merge it. So because of that reason, we have used col span equal to 2. For let's say if I use if I don't use col span equal to 2 over here, okay, let me just remove this thing for now. And if I just save this file, boom, it will just simply be it in its own position over here, which is just the second column of the second of the third row, right? So we don't want that. We want this thing, this thing to occupy this position also. It should take this position of both the columns, right? So for that purpose, we are writing col span equal to 2 for this particular text. Further on, if we just move on and consider this last row, which is 1, 2, 3, and fourth row, in that we have just simply added the list. And now I think you guys are familiar with the list. This is just a very simpler version of the list, which is called as the unordered list, right? Is it an unordered list or ordered list? Of course, it's an unordered list because there's just simply the bullet points and no kind of numbering or the sequence, right? So here's the code of the list, how we can just add the list. If you guys can see that over here, let me just zoom it. Over here inside our TD tag, table row, this inside our TD tag, we have just added the list by simply using the syntax UL, which stands for unordered list. For example, if I just so see, this is the practice which I'm telling you guys to follow. For example, over here, if I write adding a list, and if I click on command and slash, boom. So this is the shortcut of adding comment in VS Code. For example, right? You can just manually enter the comment over like this also, like exclamatory mark, hyphen, and adding a list, right? But I just simply use this shortcut. Why not? Like, because it just saves time, right? So this is the good practice of adding comments over here, so that anyone is just viewing the code directly will get to know that, okay, inside this we are just adding a list, right? So it's a good practice. After that, if we talk about the second part, which is the second column of our last row, there's another list called, and the items are bones, balls, and squeaky toys, right? So here, different kind of elements, our list items are present inside our UL tag. But notice that we are once again using the CoalSpan tag attribute inside our TD tag. For what purpose? Obviously, in order to merge this last two columns, right? Suppose if I just don't write this thing, and now I save the file, boom, it will just take this particular part. We want it to just spread across the last two columns of our table, right? So for that purpose, again, we are just writing CoalSpan equal to 2. And the similar way, we can add row span tag also to merge different kind of rows. For example, if I want to merge this cat toys, and like if I just want to merge this third row and the fourth row, what I'll be doing is I'll just add the row span tag as cat toys row span equal to 2. Boom. Right over here, this two rows has been merged. So in this way, you can use CoalSpan and row span tags like for your purpose. Let me just remove it for now, or let me just comment this. I'll just keep this thing over here and comment it down, so you guys can just uncomment it and practice it while doing in your system. Let me just add a comment over here. Example of row span. Perfect. So if you just uncomment this line, you'll just be able to see the implementation of row span tag. So what else? We talked about the web console, where we can just see the errors, right, inside our developer tools section. We talked about W3C validator, how you can just simply use that service in the beginning phase of your HTML learning. If you're still working on Notepad++, or let's say TextEdit if you're on your Mac. So we talked about that validator thing. We'll learn about the different kind of tags today, called as the anchor tag, A tag, the image tag, which is the IMG tag, and the different kind of table tags, which we also went through in the last recitation, which are like TH, table heading tag, table row tag, table data tag, caption tag, right? Which is very important if I just want to write any kind of caption. Let's say if I just go on this shell.html, and if I just click over here, go live. Here, this thing, major cities in the US, this thing which has been added in just top of the table, this is with the help of caption tag, right? So I think you guys are familiar with the caption tag too. So let me just show you this last thing which is left for today. If I just simply run this application again. Oh yeah, so the functionality which I was talking about is that you guys remember, if I click over here, more about cats and dogs, I'll just get redirected to our second HTML page called as app03_2.html, right? So how does, like, we are just able to traverse or move from one page to another. If I click on go back to home page, okay, or we just change the name of the file also, right? So if I click on right here, just one, not 01, right? Here, boom, we got our home page. So what just happened is we can just traverse from different kind of pages. Like for example, if you just see any kind of website, in that there are different kind of pages linked to each another, right? A home page, about us page, contact us page. So what we can do that, how they create is that this is just simply a particular directory or folder over here, the left side. We can just write different kind of HTML files with names called as home.html, contact.html, about us.html, right? And in this way we can just link all this three different separate files with the help of anchor tag over here, and we can just simply put in uh, the link or the name of the HTML file inside href tag. So for over here, you guys can see the text more about cats and dogs has been put inside the B tag, which is the bold tag, and that whole has been put inside the A tag. And we have just provided the link of this second HTML file called app03_2.html, right? So this is something, if you just want to just install this files in your computer, laptop, and I just want you guys to play around this thing and just have the feel of how things are working over here, how we are able to navigate from one page to another page. We learned about how we can add an external link of any kind of other website to any of our text, right? So this, both of the things are different. From here over here, what functionality we are using is we are just going or traversing to our own different kind of HTML files. Over here we are redirected to another different kind of website link, which we are inserting over here inside the src tag of the image, right? Not here, in the app2.html file over here, right? The cats one. So make sure you just understand all this different kind of tags and the where we have to put the references or the path or the name of the HTML files. So I think it's not that difficult. It's very simple and easy to understand, because it depends how we want to just show or visually do things in our web page, right? So what else? Let me just check to the agenda for today. And one more thing, I would be sharing one more thing with you guys called as this file of HTML reference sheet. If I just open this thing, okay, here is it. So there, it's just the basic reference sheet for you guys to just check wherever you want. It has basic basic HTML structure or the template, which we just saw, and for that purpose I've given you the shell.html file also, right? These are just the common text which are used. This is about the text formatting, how we can just make your text bold, click, underline the text, heading text, right? The different kind of section divisions, about div tag, we'll learn it in our later lectures. We learn about the p tag, br tag, hr tag, basic horizontal line tag, right? This is just the line break. Different kind of list tags, list associated tags, table tags, and all these things are just dumped up into one particular PDF for you guys to just to refer. As I said, like in the world of web programming, it's always a good practice to refer. There's no harm, or don't ever feel ashamed of referring things on Google or such reference sheets. But the thing is that you should know in and out of the stuff which you are referencing, right? For example, you just want to know, like, okay, I just want to use this tag. You should know like how to use it and what are the different kind of attributes associated with it, right? What kind of properties you can just insert inside those tags. All the functionality and the usage you should know, but obviously for the syntactical thing, you guys can just take the references. And make sure, don't use only concepts taught in this course when writing solutions to your assignments. Do not use HTML forms, jQuery calls in any graded assignment. Do not use HTML DOM property, inner HTML. Like I know, like in the era of ChatGPT or anything else, like for you guys, if you are facing any kind of difficulties, I would suggest don't use any kind of resources or code samples which inside which you there's something else which has been not taught to you guys by your professor or me, that would affect in the final grading of that particular assignment, right? So make sure if you know what you are writing inside the assignment, and make sure it has been covered inside our TA lecture recitations or your professor lectures, right? So that was something to note about, take a note about. And yeah, one last thing is about our this okay, how we can just add different kind of symbols in our HTML code. For example, in our HTML file over here, if I want to write anything, let's say inside our p tag, this is the, let me just go into to our first file, and if I want to add a break, and let me just simply copy this. Okay, if I write something inside the p tag that my name is Sergio. Okay, and here if I want to insert something, like let's say if I write COPY, right, and if I click on save and I just see our output, this is the one which, oh, this one's the shell one, right? Code. Let me run this thing again. Recitation 3 example over here. Yeah. So as you guys can see over here, my name, this symbol is Sarjak. Forget everything else. How does this symbol of copyright came here, right? For that purpose, there's something called as ampersand, or if you just take a reference from this one, says the UTF-8 Latin 1 supplement. Like this is just the different kind of codes given to the different kind of characters or the symbols which are present in the Unicode 8 character set, right? So if you want, so let's suppose this symbol, you write ampersand REG, right? So you can just explore this site also. So there's something called as, there are different kind of in different kind of languages, say Spanish, Roman, right? We can come across something like this, right? So you can use that too with the help of this syntax. So you just have to insert this thing directly inside our text, and you would be able to see the implementation of that functionality. I'll just comment this tag for now. And one last thing I wanted to show you guys, but I think we are over the time. I'll just show you that thing next time, or you can just ask me in the office hours. But for this recitation, let us just end over here. But lastly, I just want to give a small task to you guys, that if I want to insert any kind of YouTube video, for example, over here, if you guys just click over here, and over here inside section 13 recordings, you guys can see my recitation videos, right? Suppose if I click over here in part 1, I get redirected to my YouTube video, right? If I want to place or insert this YouTube video directly inside our web page, how we can do that, right? So this is just a small task for you guys to just find and try to implement this functionality. Definitely we'll discuss this thing next time whenever we meet, or you guys can just try out this thing. This is just a extra work assignment for you guys to practice, and if you face any issues in implementing this functionality, you can definitely email me, or we can connect during my office hours or lab support hours, right? So I would suggest doing that, because each and everyone emailing me separately, rather than just me giving you the solution at one place during our office hours, right, or lab support hours. So that is a little convenient for me too. So make sure you guys just try this small task from your end, and let's just call it a day. I hope we just learned a few more things in our HTML series, and we'll see you during our week 4 recitation recording. And last thing, you guys would be having your quiz based on this number conversions, right? Which would be available to you guys on September 20th. So make sure you attend and give this quiz properly. And I'll be just giving you all these files, the number conversions PDF, the HTML reference sheet. I would be attaching everything over here inside our if you just click on files, if you go on recitation information folder, and if you go on the folder of my name, Surjag, right? So I would be dumping all these things inside this folder called recitation3. So I hope you got everything which we discussed in this recitation recording. So see you all next week during our recitation 4. Until then, if you have any doubt or queries, feel free to email me or ask on the PLZO platform, and you can just meet me directly during my office hours or lab support hours. So thank you guys, and see you next week.